Well, first off, I want to congratulate our team for for 34 solid weeks. I think winning the Supporter Shield is a reflection of what you've done. It's work over a period of time, and it's 34 weeks of training. It's 34 weeks of games. It's all of that put all together, and it shows that we were able to come out on top. It doesn't matter if you get your points early, you get your points late. All that matters is the total points that you have at the end of the day. So I'm really proud of our group. I'm really proud of what they accomplished this year. And, we want to carry this spirit into these next games here in the MLS playoffs. And obviously that's the trophy that we haven't gotten yet that we want to get now. But as a group, and you've often heard me say this, games take on sort of their own life, and sometimes you plan for things, but it turns out a little differently. Obviously, the game today wasn't, I'm not going to put that in the category of one of our best games, overall, but it took on its own life. I thought in the first half they committed a lot of fouls to stop counters. Every time we had 2-3 possessions or passes, somebody would get fouled. If you notice early, I think the foul total was at 30 minutes. I remember looking up and they had 10 fouls. That would be on par for 30 for the game, which is an awful lot. But then we didn't do a good job of keeping possession, but we were defending well. And so, knowing that a tie would also get us through, we tried to stay with that. Brad Evans, was playing with a bad groin, and as I saw that he couldn't really play the ball forward anymore, we decided to come with Marco Papa. We wanted him to stay a little more bound to the wing, which he did, and scored a great goal, and then obviously stole another goal at the end and helped turn the game for us in terms of from a tie into a win. But we weren't going to give up a goal today. That was our resolve. And, it's something that you have to have as you go into the playoffs. So, again, I'm very proud of everything and everyone involved in this organization, from ownership all the way down to our equipment staff. We're proud of everybody for their contributions through the whole season. Sorry for the long beginning.
Was it a planned substitution to bring Papa on at about the 60th? How much did Evans' injury play into that?
It wasn't planned. We always, I always run through scenarios before the game. If this guy's struggling, this is the guy I'll bring on. This is a switch. And then we see how the game goes. And, we feel, okay, is now the right time? When's the right time? And there was a sequence of 3 passes there where Brad got the ball, and I thought he could have turned and played the ball upfield down the line. And every time he opted for a short 10, 15-yard pass, and that showed me that, he wasn't able to play that ball anymore. And, that's when we made the change.
How important was the Shield and, like putting an emphasis on winning the Shield and not just, qualifying first for the playoffs?
The Shield, you want to be first for the playoffs, and that means you win the Shield. So, because I think our conference is a little stronger than the East, at least, this year it's shown its way that way. But, at the end of the day, the Shield, I think, is another feather in the cap of our organization. And I think, as I said, I think the other day, people forget that we're still a very young organization. We're only 6 years. We're 6 years in, and now we've, in essence, won 4 Open Cups and a Supporter Shield. That's 5 trophies in 6 years. Salt Lake hasn't done that. Kansas City hasn't done that. The other new franchises haven't done that. And I think it's a reflection of our consistency. And I hope our fans appreciate that, as to what we're doing. And certainly LA, is a formidable opponent. And LA is a team that has done well in the MLS Cup. And, I'm sure our paths will cross again before we get through with this.
Have you ever worried that LA has gotten in your team's head, and is this in any way getting rid of a demon before maybe facing them?
No, I think, last week coming back from being 2-0 down, showed that we had that confidence. I thought LA played a good game today, put a lot of pressure on us early, played with a very high tempo, played very direct. They were very long with their passes. They tried to knock everything in behind, tried to use, with Donovan up front, tried to go to a speed advantage and try and cause us some problems that way. And I thought, Zach Scott and Chad Marshall, for the most part, did a really good job absorbing that.
How do you kind of balance the enjoying and celebrating this with still a lot left ahead of you?
Well, we'll enjoy it today and tomorrow, and then it's back to work on Monday. So we get a day and a half to enjoy it. That's good. You know, but it's you know, we had our mantra this season was we were going to try and be greedy, and so we got one more thing to be the ultimate greedy people. But you know, it's great because it gives you confidence as you move forward. But winning the Supporter Shield, you know, as you know, in the history of our league, you know, there's very few teams that have won the Supporter Shield and also won MLS Cup. But you know, I feel fortunate because I've been able to do it a couple of times. So hopefully we can do it again.
How key was the win to move forward to get the momentum going to the playoffs?
It was great, you know, to get the win and win the game at the end of the game like that, and the spirit, and get the crowd, and they all stayed afterwards and celebrated with us. You know, I think that's something. You know, obviously a tie would have gotten us the Shield as well, but you know, this just gives it a little more pizzazz. You know, sort of like. Hate to use a food analogy, it'd be like having a cake with no icing, so the win put the icing on the cake.
Marco Papa has been a real difference maker in the last couple of games. Would you like to use him more as a starter, or do you like him coming off the bench constantly?
No, it depends on the opponent. You know, I talked to Marco yesterday, you know, when I told him that we weren't going to have him start in this game, and explained to him just based on the opponent, based on what I felt we needed to do. We still thought yesterday, you know, because Bruce never lets anybody know if he's got any injuries or anything. So we weren't sure if Keane was going to play or not. We had thought, you know, he looked like he had a hamstring last week, but we weren't sure. So we wanted to make sure that we were set defensively because we wanted to make sure we established that part of our game and then look to the other part of our game. But you know, it depends who the next opponent is in the next round, and you know how the matchups are. But he's an important part of our team, and a very important player, and a skillful player who can make things happen and keep our possession. The goal he scored today was a great ball, great layoff, but his finish was very, very good.
Ziggy, how much confidence does the manner of this win give you? Because obviously, especially at home, it seems like it was a very different kind of victory than a lot of the ones you've had earlier this season.
You know, like I say, you got to win games different ways. You know, and probably one of the criticized parts of our team has been our defending. You know, and today, you know, I thought we played against, you know, I mean, Donovan and Zardes are a good attacking pair. I know Keane wasn't out there, but that's a good attacking team, and I think we held them at bay. You know, yeah, we might have bent a little bit, but we held them at bay, and we got a shutout in a very key game, and that is important as we move forward into the playoffs.
The Galaxy made some comments this week that suggested that maybe this was a more important game for you guys than it was for them. I guess A, is that a fair assessment, and B, does it even matter?
I think that's the Galaxy just talking. So I didn't pay much attention to it.
Given the way last season finished, kind of the struggles in the playoffs and everything, what is bouncing back this season the way you have and getting the Shield? What does that mean?
Well, it means a lot. You know, I think last year was just a freakish year. You know, as a coach, I mean, I mean, luckily I haven't lost all my hair. You know, so I'm blessed that way. I guess I get to keep my hair a little bit longer. You know, my grandfather was bald, but I don't have that gene. But you know, last year was just really frustrating at the end because we were turning everything upside down, trying to figure out what was making it work, and we just couldn't get it to change and couldn't get it to work. We weren't getting bounces at the end of the day, and there was a while there where you guys were like, oh, they're struggling now, and here we go, deja vu's happening. And you know, I said all along, no, this isn't deja vu. This is a different group. This is a different character group. And so, yeah, our last 10 to 15 games weren't as strong as our first, you know, 10 to 15 games in the league. But at the end of the day, they were still quality enough, and we showed always that ability to put ourselves into games and be around and be involved. I mean, even the loss we took in Dallas, I don't think that was a 3-1 game, you know, when we were down there. So, you know, it's important for our group, you know, to know that, you know, this isn't last year, and they knew that all along, and to continue to believe in themselves.
So you talked about the character of the team all season, and this game encapsulation in terms of them fouling and things like that, and the team staying focused, being perseverant, and then scoring the 2 goals towards the end. Can you talk a little bit about the character?
Yeah, I mean, you know, it just goes back to it, you know, I mean, because it was a frustrating game because of the tactical fouls that were happening early on. You know, it got a little bit heated a couple of times too with some tackles and, you know, people getting a little agitated at each other. So you've got you got to have that fire, but you can't go too far and lose your composure or lose your control and get yourself thrown out. So I think that was important. There were some guys who stepped in and pulled some guys who were a little more heated away, and that was important for us. But then at the end of the day, that belief that as long as the game's going on and the referee hasn't blown the final whistle, we think we can win every game. And that's a belief that we've had from the beginning of the season, and we've carried it through. And being able to win with these 2 goals at the end was certainly part of that.
Is either Evans' groin or the late knock that Marshall took anything that might linger into the next phase?
We'll see. We'll see. Obviously, we have a week now before we play, and we get to play the team that's got to play a game on Wednesday. Wednesday or Thursday, I'm not sure which day they play. You know, so we'll be able to sit and we'll evaluate and we'll make those decisions.
Do you know, will there be a concussion protocol called for with Marshall?
I don't know for sure. You know, they you know, they'll look at him and so forth. I mean, he was more complaining about his back than anything else.
What do you think? Do you think Oba made a punctuation on the MVP candidate with emphasis?
I don't know. That's for you guys to figure out. You know, I mean, you know, we've got so many important players. We got so many MVPs. You know, and certainly what Oba has done for this team this year has been absolutely fantastic. But what Clint has done for the team as well has been fantastic. And for me to hold one over the other, or you know what Chad Marshall did today in the back again defensively, you know, or Zach Scott's just unending desire, you know, is those are all factors, you know, that weigh in there. You know, Alonso covering. So for me, I leave that MVP stuff to you guys.
Was Papa acquired kind of maybe to put you guys over the hump with his veteran kind of ability?
Papa, no, you know, Papa, when he became available to start the season, we thought it was a good acquisition for us. You know, we knew we had lost Zakawani from the year before. He was a guy who could play on the wing, and he could sort of replace that. We'd also lost Mauro Rosales because of our DP situation, and we felt here's a guy who can come in and play on the flank and cause some danger. And again, when you look at Papa and Nagel, 2 of our flank players, and I think between the 2 of them, I don't know what Papa's up to. What's he up to? 6 goals now? 5? 6? Yeah, so between him and Nagel, there's, you know, and Nagel's at 10. Is he 10 and 10? 9 and 9. So that's 15 goals from your wide players, and I think that's pretty good. If you're getting 15 goals from your wide players, that's good, and that's something that's always been a strength of ours in Seattle, is that we've gotten goals from wide guys, and, you know, he fit into that.
Is that it, guys? Anything else? Thank you.
Thank you.